and welcome to E-commerce Quick Fix, Cross-Border Magazine official podcast. Today is a happy day, it's a great day here in the sunny Barcelona. We are with Thijs Boel. Thijs, how are you? How's everything?
I'm perfect. The sun is shining.
It's shining a lot, yeah.
I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Thijs is the managing director of Spring GDS here in Europe. Thijs, tell us a little bit more about the current situation, trends, topics, how is the industry behaving? Because we know there's a lot of things happening.
Yeah, there are a lot of things happening. I think cross-border is by nature a very dynamic environment and dynamic business. You also have to love that things are changing, that things are dynamic all the time, and that actually economic trends can change, dynamics change, politics change, and that changes everything. So cross-border e-commerce is all about change and dynamics, and you have to love complexity.
And when you're talking about changes, we're talking about the current changes globally.
Yeah.
You know, current tariffs and regulation changes, isn't it?
Yeah, what you see, and I think that's also something that Spring, we always say that actually we love complexity. So when it gets complex, Spring can play a role there. We've now seen in the last actually 2 months only, with changing regulations in the US, one of the top markets in the world for inbound e-commerce, that suddenly things are changing. And then you can adapt in multiple ways. What we always do as Spring, we always stay in business and we always try to find a solution. We love this kind of complexity. Like we did 5 years ago when COVID started, like we did with Brexit, we try always to find a solution. Sometimes actually it's easier and safer to say, you know what, it's so complex, how does it exactly work? We don't know yet. But what we did, actually it was just in the midst of summer, things were changing, regulations were changing, you have to think what to do. Half of my team was on holiday, but actually end of August things are changing. We want to help our customers stay in business.
Do you feel like there's a new opportunity coming for Europe? I mean, amidst all these chaos, there could be opportunity?
Yeah, yes and no. So you can also here, it's more how you look at it. So on the one part, of course, it's not an opportunity because things become more complex. But as a company that likes complexity, I see it as an opportunity. And also to, not only for us as Spring, but actually if you help your customers navigate in complexity, it gives them competitive advantage. So yes, because when the whole market is commoditized and eased, there's little room maybe to maneuver. When it's becoming more complex and such a big market like US or 3 years or 4 years ago with the UK, that does change market dynamics completely. And who can really adapt to that? The e-tailers, the tech players, the logistics players who can really adapt, they are, I think, the winners of the futures, and the ones that see the difficulties of it and are struggling. I think that's what you see.
That poses a question. Spring GDS is adapting. What are you bringing new to the table? What competitive advantage are you developing right now?
Yeah, it is a really good question, because you can also, if you simplify the whole concept, you can say, yeah, what is now so complex about delivering a parcel over the world? So a very simplistic version is, yeah, what is complex about it? What I find intriguing is not so much what I am saying, but what our customers are saying. So in logistics, actually it's very hard to not make mistakes. The question is, how do you deal with that? So logistics cannot be done without mistakes. What I find super interesting is we do our yearly survey of customers, and we call that the NPS survey. So you ask them for a net promoter score. We always score very high score. So Spring has a score of over 40. You can ask yourself, that's a little bit strange, because it's not that we don't make mistakes. Actually, we make all these mistakes every day. But it's about how you deal with that. What our customers are then saying is, okay, the way you deal with this complexity, the way you deal with mistakes, when do you still pick up the phone? If it's Saturday night, can you arrange a truck for us? If it's a moment of truth in peak, are you there? So it's the big change I was just talking about, US, UK, COVID, for example, but it's also the everyday challenges that an e-tailer simply has. He has a successful campaign, a lot of orders are coming in, they are actually massively overflooding. What do you do? And are you then still there? And what our customers typically say to us, that these kind of capabilities are something that we are apparently very good at. So it's not only the magic of delivering a perfect supply chain. We all try to do that, and because we don't own the network, we're an asset-light company, we do that with all kinds of partnerships. But I think it's more the behavioral aspect of our people, how to deal with this complexity, or if you make mistakes.
The way you tackle mistakes.
The way you tackle mistakes, and also how responsive and responsible you act on that. Because a customer hates it, say, yeah, it's a problem, I'm not sure, I can't do anything with it. Or you come with a very bureaucratic response. That doesn't help a customer. Also, customers understand mistakes are made every day. But if you look at them in the eyes, either physically or digitally or etc. and say, I'm there for you and I understand you and I'm doing everything I can to solve it for you or prevent the next time not from happening, then they feel really connected. And that's what we see in also the surveys that they are saying, that's what really differentiates us from others.
Okay, Thijs, now we know what's going on right now in the world, logistics-wise, global e-commerce-wise, but for the future, what is Spring GDS bringing to the table? What's going to happen?
Yeah, that's good. So I was talking earlier about this complexity and that we try for our customers to make actually complex world as simple as we can. So we're all the time thinking, where can we further help our customers? So what we're currently doing, actually, as we speak this month, we're launching new solution, not just a regular cross-border solution that we already have and that we're continuously expanding, I was just talking about, but also in more complex parts. Let me take two examples. One is called fulfillment and the other one is called cash on delivery. Cash on delivery. You may think in global e-commerce, cash on delivery, is that really paying by cash at the door, etc. There are large parts of Europe even and also in the world where cash on delivery, either physically or much more often electronically, is still by far the preferred payment method. But that comes across as very complex. There's an e-tailer, how does that, etc. work? What we're doing as we speak, because this is a trend in Eastern Europe and not only a trend because it's here to stay, is making that more complex way of delivery method with additional complexity in financial streams very easy. So we are launching as we speak a solution in the Eastern European region for our customers in the simple way that they're used to from Spring to integrate that in the full range of solution. One example. And the other one is on fulfillment. And you may think of fulfillment. Fulfillment, there are a lot of parties offering fulfillment. I'm also not claiming that Spring will be the best in fulfillment. We will not be. But what we can do, and that's what we're launching now in several countries, is the simplicity, again here, this is the key word, of making fulfillment in an accessible, transparent and simple way to a broader audience of customers. So we just opened in this year actually 3 new fulfillment centers in Europe, one in Poland, in Wrocław. We just opened 2 weeks ago in Mannheim in Germany, and we're about to open also one in UK. So that Spring-minded simplicity incorporate in larger part of the value chain, because otherwise actually e-commerce customers still have to find their own way in how to do fulfillment and how to do the shipping. And we try to combine that in a nice set of options. So that is what we're actually now in Q4 launching after having that tested. I think that's something that will also very much related to how we work and how we try to adapt continuously to that customer demand.
So it's a race to make complex simple.
Yeah.
And simple is profitable, isn't it?
In the end, it should be. Because it's also true that complexity also has a cost. Has a cost also to untangle. So I'm not claiming it would be very arrogant to say, we can just make it very simple. Of course, it's not like that. But we like it and to stand in the feet of the customer and to say, okay, how can we translate this complex world into something simple? So we have a lot of people that are actually very content-driven, knowledgeable. They like this complexity. So the people that design the products or they do the marketing or are selling it or are operating it, they love this piece of work, and you have to like that a little bit. Maybe you have to be a bit crazy to like that, but that's a bit what differentiates us, I think.
Okay, Thijs, we're going to the end of the interview right now. We just want to deal with one major, massive topic, sustainability.
Yeah.
Sustainability was very important like 20 years ago, still incredibly important today, and I sense it's going to be more important for the future. What kind of advantages, what kind of solutions can Spring GDS offer to their customers sustainability-wise?
Yeah, this is very relevant. It's funny that you said, okay, it was very important 20 years ago and still is. You see, maybe even in the market a bit of, are we still sure that this is very necessary? We've never considered this as a trend. We genuinely believe, and that's also why we've embedded it in our DNA, say, this is part of who we are. We simply believe in this, and whether you like it, you don't like it, you see it as a trend, you don't see a trend, we don't care, we believe in this. And in order not to have, that's not just only words, we've been trying to be front runner in this in the industry for already a couple of years in a row. And also here, as much as possible, backed up by our mother company, PostNL. So let me give a couple of examples of the past and also of the future. We have been one of the first a couple of years ago when we tried actually to reduce the one-time usage of pallets that happens in trucks, in carton pallets that we drive around Europe, that everyone does. And actually, basically, we use it only one time and then it's gone. We invested for a couple of millions in reusable pallet boxes that we use over and over again, also with our external partners, because we don't own the network, but we found a mechanism to bring it back and forth, to don't need any more cars and pallet, get that back, and actually as a side effect also load the trucks much better, which reduces air in the truck. Very clear example. Another one in road transport we launched 1.5 years ago is how to really reduce emissions, because this was more about waste, how to really reduce emissions. What we have done is actually in one go, all the fuel that we use on a yearly basis in the trucks of our partners, we switched that from regular diesel into biofuels, so-called HVO 100.
That's something that is not being done by many companies.
No, exactly. So we actually were one of the first. We explored this and we thought we have to do this. By the way, it's not a solution or a product. It's simply in the way we provide service. We also don't charge customers for it.
It's a core belief of you.
It's a core belief. We invest in this because biofuel is by default more expensive, but we don't want to pollute where we don't need to pollute. So that's what we did. And by making this step, actually our European road emissions reduced by 90%. On the back of that, and that's the bridge to what is to come, we want to be very accurate and help our customers in, okay, how are your emissions? No, not only we, but in the end, customers care about what does that mean for me. So we are very accurate on a customer and even on a shipment level, able to calculate your customer, your profile, your emission profile. And the customers, and especially the front runner customers in sustainability, are very interested in that. And that brings me to the last one, and that's where we are now. What you see is that the customers that have also in their core belief we want to do something about sustainability, with them we can say, okay, this is your profile, how to take the next step, because the next step is also the most complex step. That is air transport. So I gave examples on road transport. You can make already now steps there. Air transport is more difficult, but it's not impossible. So there are all kind of initiatives around sustainable aviation fuel. And we have now introduced with customers a so-called book and claim systems. And we can help them in reducing their own emissions in cooperation with ourselves. So it's like a co-investments. The previous examples I gave were investments from us, but the next challenge is a big one and we need to join forces. So it's the entire industry, customers and suppliers that have to do that, and we now are making the step with aviation fuel because that's the biggest polluting part of our whole supply chain.
And we don't want to pollute. For all the community that is watching the podcast right now, you can see how beautiful and green is this beautiful, beautiful park in the middle of Barcelona and how wonderful it sounds. And we want Europe to keep on looking this green and sound.
I think that's our responsibility. So you cannot disagree with that.
You cannot avoid that responsibility.
No, that's true.
So Spring GDS has a foolproof commitment to this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is in our genes. So it's also not a trend. It's not that if one person comes and one person goes, it goes away.
It's always going to be.
It's in our company. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thijs, thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
And we hope to see you in the next podcast of E-commerce Quick Fix.